Good morning, people. Welcome to Success Tree classes. Today we will discuss GS paper 3, the question paper that was made by UPSC this year, Civil Service Examination 2016 mains paper that we will discuss today. So it's a very important class as it will help you to guide or shape your preparation for the coming mains. So if you like our videos, you hit like, comment in the comment section given below and subscribe to our channel. You can also ask your doubts in the comment section. So here we go. So what is the first question? It's GS paper 3. Merry Christmas to all. First question, how globalization has led to the reduction of employment in the formal sector of the Indian economy? Is increased informalization detrimental to the development of the country? Batai, what all you have written?
So first, large-scale technological development, it decreases the demand for unskilled labor. Second, traditional nature of work disappear. Example, handloom sector. Countries unable to adapt to new technology. Increase in hidden employment. Decrease of real wage rates. Labor clauses enforced through WTO. Developing countries suffer, including India, where working conditions are miserable and as per sanitary measures as of WTO.
So, what were key points? Your key points were with globalization, more better technology. With more technology, the requirement for human labor got reduced. Right. In this, you're trying to say that there has been reduction of employment in formal sector. Like this has been your basis, right? What I
Sir, I written some positives. Sir. There's some increase in formal sector. Indians are getting more opportunity abroad in MNCs.
Correct.
In this perspective, as of now, we Indians only 5% of Indians are in formal sector. 95 are in the economy. 90% of economy is also informal. So the negative thing is after MNCs have come, our indigenous companies are not growing actually. Our indigenous companies are not going to become great MNCs. So our indigenous companies are boom. But one thing we are getting huge employment in MNCs in India itself, and at the same time in developed countries like US, Canada, UK, we are getting.
Okay, your first part of the question, that is how globalization has led to the reduction of employment in the formal sector. So only one point you addressed that because the big MNCs of the globe, they are more competitive. This is your point, right?
Yes,
resulting into the shutting down of our indigenous industries, resulting into reduction in the employment in the formal sector, or they are pushed to the informal sector employment. The earlier employee who were working in the formal. This is your point, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good point. This is.
So one more point.
Yes, please.
This is positive, sir. Sorry. Next thing is due to automation, especially in IT sector, in many of the manufacturing sector, due to automation, and due to deployment of artificial intelligence and big data.
Big data.
Big data concepts. There is huge manual labor loss also. We are also facing this problem.
So the same part we do address. So it's the same point. What other way you write it? Technology, automation, it ultimately results in reduction in the manual labor.
We have one more positive, sir.
Positive or negative? Like this, read the first part of the question and then address properly.
It's a reduction there, sir.
Correct.
So due to this, there is reduction in employment due to technologies. Next, due to the FDA, sir. FDA also, our sovereignty, everything is undermined. And just adding points, sir, to what I said. Our sovereignty is undermined now. It is completely running on foreign currencies. Maybe 60 to 70% are in FIAs.
So how this will reduce employment in formal sector?
No, most of the things are automated.
The same point again. Is the same first point again. Okay. So these 2 points we have done. One is with automation technology, reduction in employment in formal sector. But other side is with better technology, there's more opportunities and more chances of formal sector employment as well. So there are both sides. Whatever the way, as per demand of question, we need to adjust accordingly. Another point was with highly competitive MNCs coming to India and making our own domestic industries uncompetitive, resulting into shutting down of those industries and pushing the labor into the informal employment. Right. Now, another important point is, and that is even uh, a better point than these one. What actually happens? The MNCs, even the big companies, even intentionally going for informal sector employment or informalization of labor within their own company. How? Contractual labors. And there are so many staffing agencies. Now, what actually is happening? These big companies, because ultimately the global companies, the globalization resulted into more and more profit-oriented nature, right? So they resort to contractualization of labor, the contract labor they hire through staffing agencies. What is this? Informalization of labor. That has resulted into why. Now the question is why these companies are doing so. Actually, we have very archaic labor laws. Factories Act, Industrial Disputes Act. These labor laws put restriction. What these restrictions, for example, in Factories Act 20 employee restriction, in Industrial Disputes Act 100 employee. Means when you have more than 100 employee in your company, you have to comply to all the labor laws that our country has, as per these acts. In the same way, if you have more than 20 employees, then as per Factories Act, you have to meet up all the terms and conditions of that. 20 employee without power, 10 employees with power. Like this is the condition given in these acts. So what actually happens? Now, as if all the companies comply to all these strict labor laws, it restricts their development. It restricts them to grow big. So they resort intentionally to hire contract laborers. They were limiting themselves below 100 number size or below 20 number size. Because else, if they comply to these, then all they have to go with the maternity benefits. They cannot go with easy hire and fire policies, right? Easy adjustment, shifting of the employees from one company to other plant. It gets restricted under these labor laws. So these companies intentionally they do this, right? So these are major points. This one, technology automation, competition, high competition, resulting into that informal sector employment. What are the informal sector? Which are the major informal sector? Agriculture. Agriculture is the biggest one. Then there are very small, say household industries and other kind of.
Household we can put in industries, sir. Can be branched under this household activities.
It is under the informal sector employment. It is.
You don't pay gratuity, pension, you don't pay.
Nothing there
And
is.
bonus is not 50%.
Street vendors,
Okay, sir.
rickshaw pullers. All these are informal sector. Now we address the next part of the question. So to balance the question, you can also say that with globalization, it has also resulted into huge number of formal sector employment as well, right? But these are the reasons why there has been reduction in the formal sector employment. The next part of the question is increased informalization detrimental to the development of the country. Now take your stand and give your arguments.
Both sides have.
बताइए.
Sir, first on yes. that it is detrimental.
Mm.
First is increased informalization. There is low productivity,
Correct.
less bargaining power to demand their fair share value of
Yes.
value added. Few direct measures of productivity in informal sector and how they are contributing to the economy. And on no side they do contribute to growth. Provide exports are higher of them and provide low cost labor in input goods and services which are attracting MNCs. Environmental preservation, they follow sustainable development plans.
Right. Good points. Any additional points?
So, some negatives first. Negative point.
Mm-hmm.
First, a country's growth is measured in terms of GDP. And GDP can be measured properly only if it is properly a formal economy. Since it is going into informal, it is difficult to calculate the GDP.
The exact
By
contribution.
the companies or big money owners look at the GDP of country, then they come to the country for investment. So this will have some negative effect on GDP. Next, leading to tax. If it is properly formalized, then
Yes.
easily tax authorities can track them. But
Correct.
if it is not there, it will be difficult. Then
Correct.
that money will be used in for the terror activities, anti-national activities. The money generated in informal, because we are not able to properly, the officials won't be able to properly track, so it can be negatively used.
Already the informal sector wages are very low. It is hardly enough to meet up the bread and butter of the families. So I think it will be not so direct point to be written.
Then positive is
Writing positives is a challenge. Negatives, there are so many.
so by informatization, actually in 2008 crisis that I done, I'm not sure whether it's correct. Since often LPG, our economy has become three tier: urban, semi-urban, rural. We are able to sustain. If one falls also, you can be retained. If it is properly formalized, then any country can easily understand us and attack our economy. Since it is informalized, enemy is not able to understand us. And
Sorry?
the enemy country is not able.
Enemy countries?
Yes, enemy country, if they want to attack, from that perspective, I'm taking, sir. If they want to attack our example, we have seen Lehman Brothers now. Once that well-known US economies, that then it can affect the Greece also. These countries, because this is completely formalized. If someone want to attack them, they can.
Attack in what sense? Means financial attack.
Yes, financial system. If they want to attack, it can be attacked. I felt that point. So this is positive, and maybe this
is a positive.
Positive is by informal.
It means if you remain poor, then we won't be having any worry then. Indirectly, you're saying if we keep ourselves poor and underdog, then we won't have any worry in that case.
Because we can also have startups, we can also
yes, yes. So, right points, but relevant points. And it's not necessary to add much points even if they are not relevant. Then try to avoid writing such points. In if how it is detrimental, it says is increase in informalization detrimental to the development of the country. So we say how detrimental. Yes, how. Then we talk about we put all low productivity, right? No social security benefits to the people here. Low wages, very low wages. Very low wages means low taxes even. So low revenue to the government also. Moreover, very poor working conditions. You see the occupancy health status of the people working in informal sector. Then what actually happens if there is only a small section of people working in formal employment and a major one working in the informal one? Very huge inequality. Then maximum proportion of women are working where? Informal sector. So what you can say, even the informal sector employment, it is disproportionate in fact. More weaker section people are employed in so low paid poor working conditions like women, children, SC, ST. So it means the weaker section, already they are weaker section, vulnerable section, you again push them into the this detrimental kind of the work environment, low wages employment, then they will always remain weak in that case. So in that case it is detrimental to the development of our country. But it can be beneficial also, other side of the story. How it can be? You gave certain points. What are your points? Low cost labor.
They contribute to the growth.
Correct.
They provide low cost labor, input goods and services which are a factor which attract MNCs.
Correct.
They follow environmental preservation laws and they follow sustainable development path. They are the basic of startups and entrepreneurship in India.
Yes, good points these are. Starting basis for startups, sustainable even because these people are directly attached to the environment, because these are people who are living along with the environment. So they try to see there are two ways. Even one can argue against this point as well, but it depends upon demand of question how we need to manage accordingly. Low cost labor ultimately attracts the companies to hire them and higher productivity. In that case, we can say it means more profit to the companies, more in the same way. Then another important point is, and even you write that point before in the starting. So as we had seen that even the companies, the big companies, they are going for what? They're going for informal labor, the contract labor. And what actually it results into? It helps them to increase their productivity. It helps them to grow big. Because if they had been following, say, come under labor laws and they only hire the permanent staff, they would not have achieved such a high momentum in the productivity. So it is because of the contract laborers they are able to obviate the archaic labor laws and able to grow accordingly. So these are major points. Now, ultimately you have fulfilled the demand of question. Then further, as I told you guys earlier also, still write more. What should be done then, or way forward. So give around 3-4 points in that, or even you want to put these points in within conclusion, even you can do that also. If you are short of running time, then that is also doable. So what suggestion you should propose in this case?
Labor laws should be changed as per the requirement.
Reforms, yeah. Labor reforms. Ultimately, when labor reforms are done, then the companies will hire directly the formal labor. They won't go for the informal labor in that case. Because
maybe we can give example of Rajasthan.
Correct. Even what actually has happened, even the companies, they admit that they would prefer hiring the permanent staff rather than the informal labor or contract labor. Why? Because first of all, hiring them is expensive because these are hired through staffing agencies. Secondly, there is factor of loyalty as well, because so much loyalty won't be there. Comparison between the permanent or contractual staff. Thirdly, company would be hesitant to invest in the skills of the, say, contract labor. And fourthly, even it would not result into development of sector specific skills in the contract laborers. Why? Because they keeps on changing. At one time they're working in a particular sector, then they another sector. So sector specific skills won't be able to develop. So these are negatives of hiring the contract labor. So even the companies would love to hire the permanent staff, provided the labor laws are reformed. So labor reform remains a major suggestion in that case. Secondly, how you can promote more formal labor employment. Ultimately, our stand should be we should create more formal employment, because that is the good way for our country to grow and reduce inequality. So our motto should be to create well-paid jobs, or in fact you can say good jobs. Good jobs means what? Good jobs means well-paid, safe and productive. So jobs which are productive, safe as well as well paid. And where the jobs are, these kind of jobs are in formal employment. And finally conclude your answer. So even these last 3-4 lines will give you additional half mark. And this half a marks, as I told you yesterday, comes at 10 marks more. So come to next question. We are doing this this year 2016 mains paper 3. Now we come to second question number 2. Women empowerment in India needs gender busting. What are the requirements and status of gender busting in the Indian context? Batai, who will say? Vibhu?
So first, in initial line, I'm defining the gender budgeting as a concept. It is a powerful tool for achieving gender mainstreaming, so as to ensure that benefits of development reach women as much as men. India adopted gender responsive budgeting since in 2005, and then I'm coming. Women empowerment can be done through education and training, women in need, helping women in need to health benefits, and women empowerment programs, basically like working women hostel, self-help groups, women cooperative banks. And women empowerment basically covers 3 points. Basically, it should be covering social empowerment, that is creating enabling environment through affirmative development policies and programs, economic empowerment, training, employment, and income generating activities through self-help groups, etc. And gender justice to eliminate all forms of gender discrimination. Uh, and India's status on the Global Gender Gap Index 2014, India ranked 114 out of 142. It has also been a standalone goal in SDG program, and moreover requirements basically we have to also focus that increasing allocation of funds for women do not necessarily translate into increasing benefits.
Correct.
Sir, we can
still
include infant mortality rate improvement in this
see
maternal.
it will be a minor point because ultimately women empowerment, it is very vast concept. It is, so it includes health as well. So health means IMR, there you can include.
In health, I can include IMR.
Yeah, but directly write IMR, then it won't look relevant. So make it relevant. Bataiye.
So women empowerment related to budgeting. Government is allocating as of 2015 and 16 budget. Government is allocating 16,600 crores only for 100% women specific policies schemes. And government has actually divided into different sectors: social sectors, and culturally, economically, and politically, and related workforce.
You people, by the time you write this answer, then.
Yes, sir. So to bring up women, to empower women socially, Janani Suraksha Yojana, those things are being implemented, and they're giving cash to pregnant women. Then Janani Shishu Suraksha Yojana, they're also helping women. And in Food Security Act, especially in rural children and women also targeted group. And culturally, if you see Asha, these things, they are also providing employment also. And at the same time, the SSGs, by this, they are also women are empowered. And Bharatiya, these banks are Bharatiya Mahila Bank. It's 1,000 crores has been allocated, especially for bringing up many women entrepreneurs. So next, in politically, if you see, nearly in 73rd and 74th.
See, you stick to the demand of the question, okay? Because otherwise there are so many things to be written about women. Okay. It's not an essay. Understand this point. Write those points which fulfill the demand of the question. This is a way how you can fetch maximum marks. So go step by step, read the first part of the question. It says women empowerment in India needs gender busting. So first tell what is the gender busting. So Vibhu very beautifully explained gender busting is. Right? Read again.
Gender building is a powerful tool for achieving gender mainstreaming, so as to ensure that benefits of development reach women as much as men.
So busting, right? So there are different techniques of busting. You understand? So I explain ki now gender busting is not a new tool of new tool of busting, right? Whatever the busting you're using, whether outcome busting or whatever the PPPS or whatever the busting you're using, gender busting is not a new technique of busting. It is simply bringing gender perspective in each and every policy making or implementation. So means whatever the busting techniques the government is using, bring the gender perspective in that. That is gender busting. Then you can elaborate further as what the question asks. That women empowerment in India. So you understand it's not a separate technique of busting. Right? It's just bringing gender perspective, means women centric policies or any policy that is made. It should give equal benefit to women as well, to ensure gender equality and gender justice. Name says women empowerment in India needs gender busting. Definitely. How then you showcase the things. That gender busting means what? You have every policy that has component orientation to bring benefits to women. Then you show the different sectors in education, in health, how in patriarchal society or in the whole setup, even the policy making and policy implementation are not bringing equality to the women and giving them justice. That's why resulting into poor literacy rate, right? If you remember the literacy rate of 2011 census, right? That I think overall is 72 male, 85 and 62, 65 around female. Just check this thing. So gap in the literacy rate. Then show the health status, highly malnourished, poor health status of the women. Then showcase the employment, very low labor force participation of women. You remember the data, right? That it's around I think 25-26% labor force participation of women. 25%, right? Yes. So it showcase what? It showcase women empowerment won't happen unless in every policy women concern is brought into. So this is what the question actually demands. And if women concern is brought into every policy making as well as implementation, then it will help women to be literate, to be of better health, to work in the formal sector employment, to be more productive, to contribute to the family as well as to the nation building process. So in this way, I think we can justify women in the first part of the question. As there are so many things to write about women empowerment, but we have to be specific how women empowerment and gender busting. So it means how we are trying to justify this first part. We showcase what if women concern is not brought into policy making, then what are the consequences? And what are the benefits when we bring the women concern into the policy making and policy implementation? And by this way we try to justify or try to write answer for the first part. Then how gender busting, now then second part of the question comes, what are the requirements and status of gender busting in Indian context? So gender busting initially started 2005 and 2008, then started the gender busting cells. So how gender busting is done? You should have a specific idea. Now these information comes in the editorial articles. You won't specifically read somewhere in the books. This comes in the magazines as well. Yojana magazine once one of the article comes on gender busting, right? Editorials also certain times they when the budget comes, then certain editorials they bring certain concern or context regarding the gender busting as well. So these are ways how do you bring your concepts regarding any of the question to be asked in UPSC. So there are gender busting cells. So far 56 ministries and departments, they have formed gender busting cells. So these gender busting cells help in allocation with respect to the gender perspective in a particular policy. And further, you understand how busting is done. Every ministry department, they formulate their own small budgets and ultimately consolidate at the finance ministry level. Then they decide, okay, because they demand more, then everything is not given whatever the demand, right? Accordingly, finance ministry consolidated the whole budget as per being collected from the various ministries and departments. So these gender busting cells help in making their separate ministry departments own budget in concern to the gender. And finally, a gender budget statement is issued. So once you talk about status of gender busting in Indian context, you can write about that how in the last 7-8 years, around gender busting cell has been introduced in 56 ministries and departments. Secondly, taking inspiration from the center and with the coordination with Ministry of Women and Child Development, various state governments have also introduced gender busting. So it is not only the central level you require gender busting, state government also require. So many state governments like Rajasthan, Gujarat, MP, Karnataka, Odisha, UP, Uttarakhand, they have adopted gender busting. So this is another achievement status you can tell. Capacity building workshops they conduct. Resource material also has been is developed by the Ministry of Women and Child Development. So manual and handbooks for gender busting. So these were adopted in collaboration with UN Women. What? UN Women. Now but still there are challenges, certain challenges, because it has asked status. So you need to showcase both points, like what our government has achieved and where we are lagging. You can say it's only 56 ministry departments. There are so many other ministry departments. It has not been replicated in each and every department. Same way, states. There are many states still are left who have adopted, who needs to adopt the gender busting. So even within the achievement, you are trying to bring the certain challenges. Then there is limited effective participation of women in field level planning and implementation. Then lack of capacity building, lack of sufficient infra to be created regarding that. Then gender busting based audit process needs to be evolved. So these are various challenges and certain achievement status you show. And ultimately in this way you can conclude your answer. So when any question comes on women, like this was question regarding women. So there are certain domestic ways like gender busting, right? So even there is UN Women. So try to bring the international an international platform there has been. For example, UN Women is there. Then Beijing Declaration. This question was asked in prelims last year. Last year, in 2015, I think this was asked. Then there is one more platform, that is UNCE DAW. UN Convention on Elimination of UN Convention on Elimination of all forms of discrimination against women. So though in this question it doesn't demand this to be written, but UN Women you should write, and Beijing Declaration even you can write. And when some other question comes that doesn't directly include gender busting, include gender busting. It is a very significant way for the women empowerment. So it doesn't mean when gender busting is asked, then only you write gender busting, right? You should use this as an example when any other question comes regarding the women empowerment. I'll come to third question. Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana is necessary for bringing unbanked to the institutional financial fold. Do you agree with this for financial inclusion of the poor section of the Indian society? Give arguments to justify your opinion. बताइए विभू.
So first, financial inclusion about it. It ensures that access to financial services like banking, savings account, credit, etc. in an affordable manner. And then little bit about Jan Dhan, that account can be opened in any bank branch or business or correspondent outlet. And then then they're asking for opinion. Yes, it is for poor. As they get interest on deposit, accidental insurance cover, no minimum balance required, easy transfer of money across India, able to get DBT benefits directly, overdraft facilities available after 6 months, access to pension, insurance, and Rupee card is also.
Okay, so that's it, right? Kavi?
There are three pillars. Universal access to banking.
Sorry?
Universal access to banking facilities. Second pillar of this scheme is financial literacy program.
So telling the Jan Dhan Yojana
Sir, I'm
or financial inclusion.
Sir, Jan Dhan Yojana schemes. Three pillars. The third one is providing basic banking accounts with OD facility of 5,000 for 6 months. So this is the basic facilities. Basic pillars. These pillars have been practically implemented also, we can see. Universal access to banking facilities, the first pillar, nearly more than 17.7 crore accounts have been opened.
How many?
17.7 crores.
Around 20 crores accounts are there.
Okay,
Yeah. It's 19 crores something, so you can say around 20 crores accounts have been opened.
20 crores has been opened, and more than 45,000 crores something they have been deposited.
Right.
And it was probably announced by Prime Minister also. So we can say this is a success in the first pillar is a success. Then financial literacy. Now even in the villages we can see the people are getting to.
Correct.
They talk about banking related terms.
Correct.
These things, these also success we can say. Then banking is OD facility. Usually the OD facility was provided only to current accounts for business people. Overdraft.
Overdraft.
Yes, and only for current accounts and especially for business people only. But providing to even basic civilians is really horrible. And it's also
correct. So that's all right. Yes, you people tell your opinion. What's your name? Ravi. Bataiye. What you would write in this question?
It is basically a step to bring step for financial inclusion.
You formulate your points. आप बताइए जो बगल में बैठे हैं. क्या नाम है आपका? नीरज.
Well, I'm not. I don't know much about this, but I would like to give my own opinion. I think this is a predefined government initiative. So behind the introduction of this Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, the objective of this Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana is mostly to aware people, especially poor people, to the benefits of having bank account. Most of the people who don't have bank accounts are unable to save money for future. And in any way, if they save money at home, may not utilize for the beneficial purposes. So this Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana is just provide them a financial confusion that covers their uh, insurance.
Okay, people, they have covered many of the points. Okay, you start with what financial inclusion is. Okay, because unless you define financial inclusion, how you can say this Jan Dhan Yojana is bringing financial inclusion? Right? What financial inclusion is, you can define as per your own way. That people should have their bank accounts and avail the banking services like insurance, credit, and ultimately financial literacy as well. So all these are components. There are 4 or 5 components of financial inclusion. Then you try to compare whether this Jan Dhan Yojana is able to fulfill these objectives of financial inclusion or not. Accordingly, in positive, yes, it fulfills. How? It opens the bank accounts. Then you give example, data. Around 20 crore bank accounts have been opened under Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana. So you have the data to support your answer. It gives the overdraft facility as well, helps in the credit, financial literacy as well, because ultimately with DBT, people, they are having because many of the benefits are given through direct benefit transfer. So people are saying MG and REG, now money is being transferred directly into their bank accounts. So people are in one say forced to open the bank account under Jan Dhan Yojana, in another way you can say. So it is bringing the unbanked into the banking sector.
So what is overdraft facility?
Like for example, आप बताइए, explain कीजिए इनको. Overdraft क्या होता है कि you don't have so much amount in your bank, still the bank allows you to kind of credit, you can say.
Credit card type.
Not credit card, right? You can still borrow from the bank by overdraft facility. Around 5,000 rupees.
10,000 रुपीज अकाउंट में पड़े हैं, चेक काट दिया 12,000 का. अब या तो उसको बाउंस करवा दो, लीगल एक्शन हो जाएगा, या 2,000 अभी वो बैंक दे देगा, बाद में ले लेगा.
Correct. It's for a limited time. In the meantime, you need to have the same amount in the bank.
40 days, sir.
Yes. So what are the positive points, or in your argument you have supported? Bank accounts have been opened, 20 crores. With DBT, more and more people are forced to come into the banking segment. Financial literacy, ultimately now people are adopting these things. Now moreover, when it is combined with the cashless economy, how our demonetization scheme has brought into them. So you can also give this example. With demonetization, now people are more and more coming into the digital economy, cash economy. So they are using their bank accounts now, right? Having only bank accounts is not sufficient for financial inclusion. You should use those accounts, use the banking services. Till now what was happening, many of the accounts are dormant. They're not even being used, no transactions. In the last so many, say more than 1 month, now people are using those bank accounts. Though there is negative side of that as well, like being used to divert the black money into that, but that is not asking the question, right? We should stick to what is asked.
We can write that in criticism part of this.
What?
Black money into white money.
Because question is not of black money. Try to understand what is demand of the question. This 12.5 mark question is not an essay. So you need to stick to, otherwise you will end up, you can say, missing the important points, or you write something that is irrelevant. So by this way you can say yes, Jan Dhan Yojana, what it says, do you agree with this for financial inclusion of poor section? Yes, Jan Dhan Yojana helps in bringing the financial inclusion for the poor section of the society. Then you give your argument against it. I have seen many people have given arguments in favor of this. Then you say that only opening the banking accounts is not sufficient for bringing financial inclusion. Despite though 20 crores accounts have been opened, but still basic saving account penetration in India is only 46%. भाई माना कि खुले हैं 20 करोड़ अकाउंट, लेकिन अभी भी 46% ही पेनिट्रेशन है इसकी. Secondly, there is lack of last mile financial connectivity. Though you have bank account, but it's of what use if you have to travel a lot of distance to access to the bank branch? Right? Economic survey from the last 2 years have been arguing for this point. If you are reading economic survey, you would have come to it comfortably. Then give data in support of this. That only 26% villages have bank branch within 5 kilometer range. Right? So means you don't have bank branch within your reach, then how financial inclusion? Thirdly, regarding banking correspondent. So banking correspondent is a way to bring the banking services, banking facilities at the doorstep of the people, even in the hinterland. But again here the problem is low banking correspondent to people ratio. Sorry, high ratio. Right, so there are less number of banking correspondent in comparison to high number of people. It's around 1 ratio is 1 is to 6,750 around. So if you don't remember the exact data, let's say 1 is to 6,500 is the ratio currently. Whereas in Kenya it is 1 is to 130, 140 around. It's less than 150. In Kenya. Yes. Now this data is given in economic survey. If you have read the economic survey this year, all this data have been given. 46% saving account penetration, 26% villages having within 5 kilometer banks. Then this data as well, banking correspondent ratio. So it showcases that still it has not been able to provide financial inclusion to what it would have been. Then financial literacy also is very poor. We cannot say we have financially literate people. So these are various challenges, and then we can say though it has achieved or improved the status than before, but still financial inclusion has not been achieved to the maximum by this particular school. So though the answer ends here, right? Then what you should write, Vibhu? Yes. Then you need to write way forward or solution, or what should be, or measures suggested. Because ultimately you have shown that financial inclusion has not improved so much. Why नहीं improve? Improve कीजिए आप कैसे करेंगे? Give the measures. Don't write in detail. 4-5 points in short. More number of banks and diversification of banking system. Different type of banks. For example, 2 banks were opened like IDFC and Bandhan. Right? IDFC and Bandhan, they were opened, right? Then there were payment banks. So need to increase and need to diversify this banking segment. Microfinance can be promoted. Then regarding banking correspondent, what you can do? Incentivize more banking correspondents. How you will have a more dedicated staff of banking correspondent when they get the adequate incentives to work for that, then they will have the motivation and more number of staff would be there. So these could be there. What else? To increase the reach, Payment banks, you have said in the diversification. Post offices. See, post offices, they provide the last mile connectivity. You won't have the bank branch, but you help post office in your nearby areas. So even post office, it does not get the full-fledged banking license, but kind of payment bank it would have. So what actually solution could be, even post office, and it is a huge infrastructure, post office, and staff as well. Whereas regular posting services, their relevance has reduced in the past because of the modern means of communication. So that existing infrastructure could be used to reach to the people and give them last mile financial connectivity. And then promote digital cashless economy, mobile banking and all these things. So this is a way how you can further penetrate the financial inclusion. We come to next question. What are smart cities? Examine their relevance for urban development in India. Will it increase rural-urban differences? Give arguments for smart villages in the light of Pura and Tribal mission. बताइए कभी smart cities.
Sir, actually, our government has announced smart cities mission. I've written about the smart cities mission.
Smart?
City.
Yeah, what is smart city?
Sir, actually, just to transform some 100 cities, with the following facilities: assured water supply, water and power supply, IT connectivity, e-governance, citizens participation, and efficient urban mobility and public transportation. This should be provided for 100 cities within by 2019-20. This is the intention of government. And for this, they have allocated 48,000 crores. And, as about 20 cities it is implemented, sir.
Vibhu?
So first part only, what is smart city?
Yeah, first part. Then.
Smart cities are basically urban economic system represented by four pillars of comprehensive development: institutional, physical, social, and economic infrastructure. And its objectives are promote cities that provide core infrastructure, give a decent quality of life, a clean and sustainable environment, and application of smart solutions.
But yeah, good. Anybody else? See, even if you, first of all, there is no fixed definition of smart city. Understand this thing. It could vary from person to person, vary from expert to expert. Even in smart city mission, the government has not specifically defined it, what a smart city is. So, but once you read the various articles, then you have an understanding what smart city could be. You read the document like this definition you've written or you have written this. So, a city is smart. When a city can be smart, it gives smart solutions to the challenges and problems of the people. Use the technology, enhance the efficiency and effectiveness of public service delivery system. Like all these are written like sanitation, water supply, all these come under public service delivery. There are various services that public authorities provide to the people. So all those public service delivery systems should be efficient and more effective. Smart transport, smart infrastructure, having you can say, and ultimately the objective is to improve the quality of lives of the people within the city.
Friendly services using IT.
Sorry? Yeah, that we have used using the technology. Because once you say providing smart solutions to the problems by using the involving technology. And ultimately this city should be smart for everybody. To every section of society. Are you getting my point? It should not be limited to a particular section of society, only rich and say. So this smart city should be inclusive smart city. So there are various ways you can define a smart city, but ultimately core points: involvement of technology is eminent, smart mobile transport and infrastructure, efficient and effective public service delivery system. अब उसमें बहुत सारे points आ जाते हैं. Whether you write those directly or you don't, that is up to you. And ultimately improving quality of lives of the people. This is the ultimate last objective. So now we address the next part. Examine the relevance for urban development in India. Yes, Vibhu, बताइए.
Sir, relevance it promote mixed land use and area-based development. That is, land is used more efficiently. Housing inclusiveness.
Yes.
Creating walkable localities, which helps in decreasing congestion, air pollution, and resource depletion. Preserving and developing open spaces. Promote public transport using smart solution for infrastructure and services. Example, making area less vulnerable to disaster using fewer resources and providing cheaper services.
Very good points you told. Anybody who has written this part?
Urban population is increasing, and by 2050, 70% of Indians will be living in Indian cities. So it is necessary to provide them better low-cost housing, healthcare, sanitation, public transportation, education, employment, etc.
So you combine the points, good points you people have told. But it says examine the relevance for urban development in India. Urban development. So see, what do you mean by urban development? Urban infrastructure, connectivity, housing, then public service delivery as well, sanitation and all the water drinking, all these services. It also includes strengthening of urban local bodies. This point many people would have missed it. Employment, housing you have taken, right? And better interlinkages to the other cities as well as villages, because smart city cannot develop a smart city in isolation. So ultimately urban centers, they are supposed to work as engines of economic growth. How they can serve as engines of economic growth? They provide economic activities, business activities, industrialization. So how the smart city would help in the industrialization? Link that as well. And ultimately sustainable urban development. So there are around 6-7 different areas. In each area you can write accordingly. When you talk about transport, say for example you go out and for example anybody comes from Mumbai to Delhi by air, how much time does it take? Around 2 hours,
1 hour 50 minutes.
like 2 hours around, right? And the same person, once he comes from Mumbai to Delhi by airport and he is to go to Noida by road, the same time he would again spend from Delhi to Noida. So this is in no way smart transport. The transportation has to be smart, has to be seamless, multimodal, integrated, so that people spend more time in productive works rather than just stuck in the traffic jams. Same with the housing. So even if affordable housing is given to the poor people, it should be near to their workplace. What actually is happening? The housing to them is given where? On the periphery of the cities. Are you getting my point? So now they cannot afford traveling so far to their workplaces from the periphery of the cities. So they don't go to those houses and they put those houses on rent, and still they live in the slums. So different kind of strategies should be adopted according to the to make the city smart. Same way, urban local bodies for any urban development, the major factor remains strengthening of urban local bodies, municipalities, because these are core institutions to provide the public service delivery. You cannot improve sanitation, you cannot improve water drinking facility and all unless our municipalities are strengthened. So what should be done? Functions, more functions should be devolved, capacity building, more finances, more functionaries. So generally 3F we take. Whenever we talk about PRIs or urban local bodies and anybody asks you about how to improve their functioning, in small you can write, or in small you can remember 3Fs. F, finance. This F, functions. And third F, functionaries. So means more finances should be devolved and new ways to raise their own taxes on finance. Second, functions means more responsibility should be given to them, more functions should be devolved to them. Generally depends upon the state government to devolve how many functions to the local bodies. Third, functionaries means the staffing, the capacity building of the people working in municipalities. So it goes for planned development, moreover inclusive development, because smart city goes for inclusive development. So all these things you can write accordingly. We mentioned efficient use of the resources like land and all these things. Ultimately, it helps in the urban development. And as our urban population would be increasing in the coming years, if we don't go for we have seen how unplanned development leads to the chaos in the city. So it's of highly eminent that we bring a planned development according to the demand of the coming years to serve the demand of high population, migration, and population density in the cities. Okay, next part is what? Will it increase? Now, see, it's one question, but there are around 1, 2, 3, 4 parts of the question. So, if you are to attempt the whole question, you have to attempt all the 4 parts. And to ensure you attempt all 4 parts, you need to restrict yourself in each and every part, as every part is a separate question. You don't have the such space, as well as you don't have much luxury of time. So will it increase rural urban difference? And next part is give arguments for smart villages in the light of Pura and urban mission. Batai Bibu, what your opinion is?
Yes, it will increase the rural urban gap because it will be because urban life will quality of life will be much better in urban areas due to
Yes.
targeted scheme. Finances of government are limited. If they are spending more on say urban areas, it will definitely reduce the budget allocation for the rural areas.
Good points. Anybody else? Akshay, लिखा क्वेश्चन है, बताइए.
Because yes, it will the difference increases as the people will migrate to our cities more than before, and they will utilize more resources.
Yes, Kabir.
Yes, sir. Actually, it will be like two different places. Because lucrative jobs, everything can be found only. As a result, the backward linkages will be lost slowly. Only forward, everyone will go for forward linkages in industries. In simultaneously, when it is developed, backward linkages also should be developed. The only then we can have a sustained development. Else, only this developed after maybe in Romans we have seen after cities developed completely collapsed after reaching peak.
Yes. So you people have told about given arguments regarding yes, it will increase, and these are the same points. So there's no need for me to repeat these points again. Now, but give another side that increasing in the difference between rural urban depends upon how government looks the rural development. If the urban mission is implemented in the effectivity, then this increase may not be so much, right? If the government links smart city to the smart villages, then this difference may not be so much, right? If the government keeps on building more small towns and small cities, for example, under Amrut, 500 cities would be developed. So it depends upon government other programs, with how much rigor government pursues other rural development programs. And if the government understands that smart city goal can be fulfilled only by developing the smart villages, then there may not be so much huge gulf between city and village. So this is another dimension that you can give to your answer. Then give you arguments for smart villages in the light of Pura and urban mission. Yes, Vibhu, बताइए.
Sir, first I will basically sustainable development of villages to ensure a good education and healthcare, access to clean water, sanitation, productive enterprises, gender equality, and democratic engagement. And basically, these are this rural is the Shama Prasad Mukherjee
Correct.
rural urban scheme mission. And why it was needed was because census 2011 data shows inequality in basic communities between rural and urban India. We have dated, we can write them. And India, and as the Prime Minister of India said, India cannot be sum of big 50 big cities. They provide providing employment and economic growth by adopting cluster approaches. And this.
Good points these are. Kavi, any additional points? आप बताइए. Okay, see, this arguments to give, you need to first know what the urban mission is. Pura was earlier, then it was replaced by urban mission. So it is Shyama Prasad Mukherjee's urban mission. He has beautifully told what the points are. So it's a cluster-based scheme it is. So 300 clusters would be formed of the villages. So ultimately, it's a way to generate employment within the villages, to make the villagers capable enough, self-employment, better village infrastructure. So what you can say, just how government pursues smart city, a city program. The same way it wants to make the village life self-subsistent in itself, so that they can have a better, good, well-paying jobs within the village itself. So it includes the various dimensions. It includes infrastructure, village infrastructure. It includes agriculture. It includes self-employment. It includes small industries nearby the villages. It includes providing basic amenities to all the households, houses, as well as drinking water facilities, sanitation, each and everything. Ultimately,
Road connectivity.
Yes, connectivity and all. Ultimately, kind of providing the urban amenities in the rural areas. So it will help in building the smart villages. So why ISA give argument for smart villages? So the question doesn't ask to explain urban mission only. You write a couple of lines about urban mission and Pura, but your main argument should be regarding argument for smart villages. Why government should adopt smart villages? Then you write how smart will, if the villages are smart in themselves. First of all, the quality of life of the villagers will improve. They'll have the better facility, sanitation, water supply. The open defecation would be eradicated. All these things. Yes, one more point. Whenever you talk about making any village smart, it should also include the PRIs, panchayats. Then once they are skilled, once they have the self-employment within villages, right, it will check migration as well, migration to cities, and will check the burden of so much migration on the highly populated our cities.
Increase in GDP and
Correct.
lowering socioeconomic disparities.
Very good. Then you find the inequality between rural urban, a gap deficit, you find that deficit will be bridged. Fifthly, as our agriculture provides food security to the people as well as employment to around 60% of the people of India. So once our villages are smart, our agriculture will get an impetus. Securing food security and income security to the farmers. Food security to the nation and income security to the farmers. Socio-economic indicators would improve. So there are so many points you can write. Now once our PRIs get strengthened, they will get more capable enough to serve the people in the best interest of people there. Then for a city to be smart, then you link these 2 points. For the city to be smart, a village has to be smart. Because this question started from smart cities and this question ends with smart villages. So if you don't link these, then I think answer would be incomplete. Then you give your arguments how for a smart city a village has to be smart. Because see, ultimately village provides raw materials to industries, agriculture to the food processing industries and other industries. It provides low cost employment to the industries. Our daily vegetables and fruits comes from where? Villages. Milk comes from where? So our daily consumption items to the cities come from the villages. Moreover, once villages are smart, it means people are also smart. Rural people are also smart. So what will happen? They will have better civic sense. Now once village people, they have better civic sense. Once they come to cities, right, they won't go for open defecation in cities, they won't put garbage here and there. So ultimately, and you see, take a different example, when a village is not smart and people have habit of going in the open defecation and no sense of say keeping their environment clean and surrounding clean, then they will do the same thing in cities as well. And moreover, connectivity, it has to be streamlined. Connectivity, if it is within city or its connectivity to the villages. So once villages are smart, they will have better connectivity to cities and vice versa. So all these points you can write to interlink how for a smart city a smart village is required, and then conclude your answer. Now come to next question. Quickly read the question and tell the answer. Question is, justify the need for FDI for the development of the Indian economy. Why there is gap between MOUs signed and actual FDIs. Suggest remedial steps to be taken for increasing actual FDIs in India. Yes, Kavi.
Actually, there are many projects, government projects and private projects, which are in develop because of less capital.
Sorry?
Capital, sir.
Capital,
Amount is
yes,
because of
yes,
it's in deadlock.
correct,
One is dependent on others, so there is a busy cycle. So finally, it is in
correct.
deadlock. So we need some amount to be pumped in.
Mhm.
So we need so FDA will help us with this.
Correct.
The second one is the gap is actually created because of red tapeism and corruption
Hmm.
and because of very strict land rules.
Hmm.
Is,
Yes, Vibhu.
Sir, FDI is needed first to increase the investment level, that is capital, as domestic savings are inadequate in India. It also is needed to increase the employment level, increase the government revenue through more taxation, better technology they bring with them, better management, and they also increase the domestic competition in the domestic market, and they are also exporting their products, which earns foreign exchange. The gap is there due to first unsustainable investment climate like red tapeism, poor physical infrastructure, absence of skilled labor, outdated labor laws, tax terrorism, example Vodafone case, outdated land laws, example Costco had to exit India from Odisha, corruption and kickbacks, high fiscal deficit is there, no proper exit mechanism is there, bankruptcy laws are still not up to the mark.
Excellent answer. You covered almost maximum dimensions of this question. So, you answered the first two parts, right?
Yes, sir.
So, anybody would
Majors
like?
can be opposite
Yes.
of them.
As per now, anybody would like to add apart from these points? I'll give you just so justify the need for FDI for development of the Indian economy. You told maximum points about it, right? So, like it will plug in the investment gap, right? Uh, you told about the funds, capital will come, investment will come, employment, right? Now, I think you missed out technology.
Technologies.
You're okay, fine. Technology, then best management practices. So management practices would also come along with this. These are major points. Moreover, you can also write about that as presently the situation in India, because there's twin balance sheet problem. High NPAs in banks. So banks are the flow of credit is low from the banks because of high NPAs, as well as the industries. The Indian industries, they are holding their investment. Why? Because even there is issue with the balance sheet of the industries. And from where the investment will come? Now the government of India also has now less physical space. Why? Because of higher devolution to states under 14th Finance Commission. So this FDI can plug in the gap created by these reasons. Are you able to understand this concept, right?
But sir, FDI also reduces the participation of people.
Sorry?
FDI
Hmm.
is also reduces the participation of people in Indian economy.
How? Justify your answer. Justify your argument.
Like some small businessmen who are now doing their
I'm able to understand you're talking about this multi-brand retail. From that argument you want to generate. See, you need to write the relevant points. Else in economy everything is related, everything is connected. To every point there is certain other points as well. So you need to understand what is required in the answer, what is being asked in the answer. ठीक है भाई, फंड्स है नहीं हमारे पास, कहाँ से आएंगे? या तो फंड लो ही मत, बंद कर दो, पॉसिबल है नहीं है. So FDI definitely has the positives, and those are being asked in the question. Because if you start writing those things, you'll end up writing or missing the required points. There are 4 parts in this question. You'll end up missing 1 or 2 parts then. And still
maybe
not.
some points will be unconstitutional.
How unconstitutional?
Like the people of India have a right to.
Does the constitution says no FDI?
No.
Now justify your argument. You can give argument but justify it. बताइए कैसे? Why is government कहती है if FDI comes it will give more employment, and it is happening. When investment comes, what will happen? More industries, more productivity of the companies and all. Once companies are in profit, they will hire the workers as well. But once companies are dooming, they'll fire the workers. It will reduce employment, in fact, if there is no investment. So be strict to the demand of question, because we are not discussing here a topic. Now, just maybe you may misunderstand from our discussion. Our focus is on meeting up the demand of the question, not discussing the topic FDI and in totality. We're not discussing FDI. We're discussing this question. Else, you may write many things about FDI, but examiner will just cut across the paper. Why gap? Vibhu has given very excellent points about why there is gap in from MOUs are signed but no actual FDIs. Right? Issues in clearances, issues in land acquisition, power issues, right? Exit problem in India, adversarial and unpredictable taxation regime, tax terrorism, right? Overall business environment, high cost of doing business. So all these can be the issues in this. Then lack of adequate infrastructure. Another important point is that when companies they sign up the MOUs regarding FDI, but they're hesitant to transfer the technology, state-of-the-art technology. It has been seen in various deals. When Dassault Rafale signed it, they are hesitant to transfer the technology. Moreover, certain times after MOUs are signed, there is not so proper follow-up and pursuance of those MOUs in realizing the actual FDI. So just some different points you can write like this. Steps, as there are issues, why gaps? Now as per every other gap you can write the solution. So it's not a big deal about it. So if there is exit problem, you write about the this one bankruptcy and bankruptcy code. If there is an infrastructure problem, you write about Kelkar committee recommendation on PPP. If there is issue with the taxation, write about going for non-adversarial and predictable taxation regime, going for ease of doing business, right? As going for Make in India, Digital India, Skill India, because they will invest when they find people are skilled, when they find our industries are capable enough, competitive enough, right? When they find there is adequate technology platform as well in terms of Digital India. So even implementing these effectively, our Make in India, Digital India, Skill India will help in realizing those MOUs in FDI into actual FDIs. Then foreign trade policy 2015-20, because if we have such trade policy which promotes export, so they would happy to invest in India. Foreign trade policy 2015-20, labor reforms. So these are points you can write in this question.
Sir, Kelkar committee report on
PPP.
budget.
No.
Public participation.
Even you can give example of regarding infrastructure. This one, hybrid annuity model. Hybrid annuity model for highways. It was brought by our road transport minister Nitin Gadkari. Hybrid annuity. This model will help in what? Clearing those issues in PPP or other issues will help in creating infrastructure. Once infra is created, more FDIs. Even in the same, say, once you're writing about infra, in the same you write about, say, this hyper energy model, PPP, Kelkar committee recommendation, Sagarmala project, Bharatmala project. There are so many numerous examples. Sagarmala, port-led development. Bharatmala, roads, highways. Now come to next question. Comment on the challenges for inclusive growth which include careless and useless manpower in the Indian context. Suggest measures to be taken for facing these challenges. This is quite tricky question, in fact. You don't expect these kind of question. Generally we see political question, economic question is careless and useless manpower. Some different kind of question UPSC is framed. So accordingly you have to write it. विभू बताइए क्या लिखा आपने?
So first, explaining inclusive growth, it is basically equitable development or growth with social justice. Then two more lines on need for inclusive growth. Then addressing the question challenges. And side by side, I'm also addressing the measures.
Okay.
So challenges for inclusive growth first, employment, unemployment. Basically, unorganized sector is unorganized employment is 85%. Only source to eradicate poverty is employment. Quality and quantity are low due to illiteracy and over dependency on agriculture employment, and that is addressing this useless manpower part. And how can we measure it? How can measures to curb it? Basically, scale honing. Setting up of new businesses, financing, credit facilities to economic and weaker sections of the society, and curbing child labor and ensuring that they are in the school at the right time. And other challenges, I'm not sure what this careless manpower, I'm not sure what it is. Other challenges I have written basically poverty, agriculture, social development problem, regional disparity, and but I'm not sure whether they will be form part of the question or not.
Sir, careless manpower means some segments have been left out.
What?
Some segments have been left out for employment.
That they would have been used some different word. Careless जो परवाह नहीं करते हैं, काम नहीं करते हैं. It would have been a question of ethics, in fact.
The word careless and actually we can make careless and useless is not the right word to be used because each and every living being has some purpose.
But in Hindi also they have written laparwa.
Laparwa. See,
as a purpose, the government, it is a responsibility of government to properly use everyone. Then we can write reforms and everything.
Whatever they would happen, but they have asked the question.
We lack skilled labor force.
Now you have to justify ना कैसे careless कैसे हैं, how they are useless manpower. तो फिर now Vibhu has written about challenges for inclusive growth, but you missed out on writing about careless and useless manpower.
Useless only I know of agriculture because there are more
Disguised.
Right.
So that is one point you can write about, that useless means there are more number of people involved in some activity than required one. I won't take up the challenges for inclusive growth in totality because then it will be a very huge question, and he has addressed very properly. Inclusive growth means growth for every section of society. Clear. I'm just sticking myself to this careless and useless manpower. Very tricky words they have used, careless, otherwise you know how we can say careless, just how Kavi said. Careless and useless. But why careless, why useless? One point is this disguised employment. Secondly, anybody, any person, any manpower, when a manpower will be careless, or when a manpower is useless. For example, we say useless when a manpower is useless when the person is involved in a particular employment and not having the adequate skills to do that. भाई काम उसे ऐसा करवा रहे लेकिन स्किल्स तो है नहीं उसके पास, तो यूजलेस हो गया वो.
Like HRD ministry has given, HRD ministry some time back has given report that we have this much.
That is I'm telling you now. So you can just give various examples. It is a general phenomenon in India. We have seen people, they don't have job ready skills or requisite skills required in any of the employment. Secondly, illiteracy, malnutrition. When a labor is illiterate, low skilled and highly malnourished, the productivity will be very low. So what kind of labor it is? Useless in that way. So these are challenges in that. Then you can talk about archaic labor laws resulting into informal labor. More informal sector employment. What happens in informal sector employment? Productivity is very low. And you find the labor there kind of careless users in the way their efforts are not culminating into the resultant productivity. Then you can talk about, regarding careless, you can say lack of positive work attitude. Chalta hai attitude. This is generally you can find in government offices where, or some other, yes, it has creeped in, you can see in society hour. People generally go to office to get salary, not to work, in fact, not to contribute to the company, to the organization where they work. In general, I'm saying. So there, the workforce becomes careless and useless as well. Moreover, lack of involvement of labor force in the decision making, in the management of the industries. Once you don't involve the workers, your labor force, in the decision making, a huge gap is created. They don't feel themselves part of the company, part of the organization. Once this feeling comes that they are not part of the organization, they become careless and useless. Then you can also talk about how the lower section of society, for example, women, scheduled caste, scheduled tribe. In a society, they are at very low status. Disables include disables as well. Right? Now there is social stigma attached to the disabled. People even don't recognize their abilities. The same happens in the companies. Once company or organization doesn't recognize their abilities, and even people in general don't recognize their abilities, there is social stigma attached to it. So see how those people will feel like. And this feeling make them useless, they are not able to contribute. The same with the women, you can see the very low labor force participation rate of women, 25%. So it means a major chunk of our section of society, specifically weaker section of society, women, SC, ST, disabled, they are not able to contribute to the maximum and realize their full potential. Thereby impeding inclusive growth. It was a challenging question, in fact, till now we have seen. So, what I believe, the major part of this question, the first part of the question should revolve around these two, careless and useless. Then you can write there are other challenges as well of inclusive growth that you have told, around 4 or 5 points, and quickly you can write that. And then it says measures. Then with respect to each challenge you can write measures, and it's not a big deal in that. So you need to improve the skills, education, you need to improve the health status, nutrition. There are different schemes for that. National skill mission is there for health. There are different ways to do out that. Labor reforms, training, on-job training, keep on motivating the employees, positive work attitude, having a positive work culture within the organization. Yes, yes. Even moral education within the curriculum, moral and ethical education. Reducing poverty, inequality, all these things you can write in the measures. There was one challenge we told about lack of involvement of workers in the management or in the decision making. So there is one of the DPSP as well, Article 43A, involvement of workers in the management of the industries. So in the measures write that, realize this one. We come to next question. What is water use efficiency? Describe the role of micro irrigation in increasing the water use efficiency. बताइए quickly देखते हैं क्या क्या है. Tell your answers. It's a simple question. There is not so much. There is no confusion like the previous question. विभू बताइए जल्दी से बताइए.
So water use efficiency is basically ratio of water used in a plant to convert water into plant biomass or grain through transpiration. Basically, then a role of micro irrigation. Basically, it is asking about drip irrigation and the in how it then addressing the next part. First, maximum use of regular water, no water to the weeds. It decreases the use of fertilizers, low operation cost, no soil erosion, improved infiltration in soil, no run of fertilizers into groundwater, less evaporation loss.
Good points. ठीक है. Water use efficiency means enhancing the efficiency of water use, right? Means you can say getting the more outcome with using the less amount of water is the water use efficiency. Or in other words, you can say going for judicious use of the water resources, available water resources, is the water use efficiency. Right. Now micro irrigation. So you have Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana for that. So that promotes and encourages micro irrigation. Micro irrigation means like sprinkler or drip irrigation. So ultimately, even in the budget, there has been slogan from our finance minister regarding this micro irrigation: more crop per drop. So Vibhu has told the points regarding how the role of micro irrigation in increasing water use efficiency can be there. So it will increase the on-farm water use efficiency, right? It will increase even once you compare with flood irrigation, and one is micro irrigation. Flood irrigation, a lot of wastage of water happens, right? Whereas in micro irrigation, every drop counts, does something useful, helps in the more productivity. Even it has been found that micro irrigation helps in giving the more productivity to certain crops. This economic survey backs this statement. Generally, it's suitable for the horticulture crops. Fertigation, it also helps in increasing efficiency of other inputs as well. For example, fertilizers. So fertigation is a process by mixing fertilizer into the water and then distributing by of micro irrigation, sprinkler or drip. So it increases the efficient use of the all other inputs as well.
What it is in terms of
Fertigation.
fertigation?
Yeah, it was used in this economic survey. Though this question asked till here, but I will suggest write challenges. Challenges in adopting micro irrigation. What could be the challenges? Initial setup is costlier and it requires specific skill set as well. Then flood irrigation, right? Then extension services. Then in just conclusion part, in just 1 or 2 lines, write about solution. But what actually happens is the huge benefit of micro irrigation, right? It actually saves the power, saves on fertilizers, helps in. We have discussed these points, no, regarding the soil productivity. Ultimately, the problem is what? There's lack of extension services, lack of awareness among the farmers. So what should be done? There should be publicity of socio-economic benefits attached to the micro irrigation. So once CSEP comes out with the various MSP and all these points, so it should publicize socio-economic benefits of using micro irrigation and using the crops like pulses, oil seeds, which require less amount of water. Come to next question, allelopathy, a very absurd question they asked, generally very factual. If you haven't heard this word, you won't be able to answer this question. This is what actually it is, and most of the people, they have not answered it correctly. A very few proportion would have done, but this question, such question, they don't make much of the difference in your, because it's relative performance it is. So there is nothing much to discuss about it. Allelopathy is what actually it by which any organism, any plant produces certain biochemicals which impedes another plant's growth or it enhances the plant's growth. So it helps in, you can say, checking the growth of the weeds and herbs and all these things, right? So that these unwanted plants, they don't get growth, sufficient one, and the required plants, they get the adequate growth and use the maximum nutrients and all. So allelopathy is this one. So you can just read by your own, or we'll give the notes on this. Regarding Fasal Bima Yojana, again a factual question, and it's an easy question. It is question number 10. Land reform. Okay, what were the land reforms? Post independence, we had India had gone through certain land reforms: abolition of Zamindari, Land Ceiling Act, Tenancy Act, right? Consolidation of land holdings. These are certain land reforms. They were taken into being, right? How they have improved? Definitely, all these have certain positive points. How abolition of Zamindari, land consolidation, right? Tenancy Act, these have helped. Factors that are responsible for success of land reforms in India. So what actually my point is, there has been success of these land reforms, but not to the adequate level, because still the benefit reached to the large farmers. The small and marginal farmers are still at the margin. So this is my approach. What I'm just trying to say, I'm not giving each and every point. I'm trying to say the approach how we need to handle such questions. Or if you want to discuss it, then we can discuss in next class, as we are running short of time. So just I'm trying to. Fasal Bima Yojana, factual question it is. Okay, you can find the answer from anywhere. So there is nothing much to discuss about it. Even we'll give the notes on this, what Fasal Bima Yojana says and how it will help. Come to next 11th question. Discuss an account of current status and target to be achieved pertaining to renewable energy sources in the country. If you had been following economic survey other articles regarding renewable energy, you would have gone through these data many times, at least regarding targets. So what are the targets and the status?
Target was 175 gigawatt by 2022.
Correct.
Out of that, 100 will be solar, 60 wind, 10 biomass, 5 small hydro. Status is around 44 gigawatt, out of which 27 is wind and 8 is solar. Contribution is 14.7% of total installed capacity.
Excellent.
And
So
Office of National Program.
solar, wind, biomass, small hydro. These are core segments of renewable energy. Solar, presently we have 8,000 megawatts of installed capacity. Target 1 lakh megawatt or 100 gigawatt. 1 lakh megawatt or 100 gigawatt. Same. Wind, present how much? Around 28,000 megawatt. Target 60,000 megawatt. Biomass, target is how much? 10 megawatt and installed capacity around 10,000 megawatt, installed capacity around 5,000 megawatt. The next one is small hydro. Small hydro target is 5,000 megawatt and installed capacity 4,300 megawatt. So this is the current status. Regarding National Program on Light Emitting Diodes (LED) program, you might have heard about DLP, Ujala scheme. So for domestic efficient light and as well as for street lighting. So both you can write, and you know the importance of using the LEDs. Next question, 12th question, it was a simple question regarding the science and technology, because you need to write India's achievement in the field of space science and technology. Directly they didn't ask a particular achievement of ISRO, say scramjet or RLVTT like this. So whatever you have gone through in the last 1 or 2, 3 years, you write those achievements. For example, Navik, scramjet, reusable launch vehicle TD, Astrosat.
You can also start from Aryabhat.
Yeah, anything.
2-3 words about
Yes, anything you can. There are so many things you can write in this first part. That secondly, application, socio-economic development. So it has application agriculture and rural development, urban development, and environment, in the disaster management. So many applications. So we'll give you the notes on these on the socio-economic development. So simple question it was. I believe there's no so much issues on these questions. Nanoscience technology, again, it was specific question. Okay, what nanoscience is? So it remains an important question for any of the science and tech question, you can say. So nanoscience using the nanotechnology, it was specific question. Still, I will just let you know, even if you don't know these kind of questions, still how you can attempt it, right? In the next class we'll discuss about, you find certain challenges while attempting the question, though you don't know the actual answer. So my suggestion is go for it, unless the question is like allelopathy. So nanoscience, at least you know certain things, but still how you can use that according to demand of the question. So specific question it is. We will provide you notes on this keyword nanoscience, because there's nothing much to this. There's nothing much analytical about this. That's why I'm not discussing these. Fourteenth question we will discuss in the next class. Just tick mark this one. It is worth discussing question. It's a good question. 15th question also good question. 15th question we discuss because this question has appeared twice this year mains. Urban flooding. This question appeared in geography paper, like in paper 1, and here as well. Same as smart city also in paper 1 as well as in paper 3. So question 15 and 16 we discuss. बताइए, have you attempted this question? 15 बताइए.
Sir, first reason for urban floods, not adequate attention paid to natural water bodies. Example, Chennai, unplanned urbanization, encroachment, national stream changes its course which is not considered by planning the cities. lack
One
of
by one. First point is
not adequate attention paid to natural water bodies,
so wetlands.
unplanned urbanization,
Third,
encroachments,
encroachments where.
natural stream changes courses,
Yes.
lack of proper drainage system
Right.
if they are not cleaned regularly, low level of tree covers, and then I've gone to mechanism for preparing.
Okay, right. Anybody else apart from these points? Yes, Kavi. Wetlands, unplanned urbanization, encroachments on the water bodies, drainage system, poor drainage system, deforestation, tree cover loss. What else?
Climate change can be.
You need to justify how it is. Then you can. How climate change is linked to urban flooding.
Especially if we see Chennai, within 3 days, it flooded. There was continuous rain. Continuous rain was there. So because of this, the lake near it, suddenly it was broke down in by 2 p.m.
So you need to link it. How climate change? How it is linked to climate change? How it is linked to climate change? Means you cannot. Though the examiner won't discard the point, but it's better to link it properly. See how you can link this point that the climate change, global warming, more and more pollution, all this is happening. You see the pollution in Delhi, in Chennai, in the metro cities specifically. With the pollution, you have what? You have the, you can say, any of the clouds to be formed, it needs the certain nuclei, hygroscopic nuclei. So the pollution, the particulate matters, they provide the surface for the hygroscopic nuclei. So more rainfall. You understand, right? How the condensation happens, how the cloud formation. So for cloud to be formed, it need to get condensed around certain hygroscopic nuclei. It could be any particulate matter, salt matter, so any of the things. Okay, I just add quickly certain more points. One is concrete roads, concretization of the roads. With the concrete roads, what actually happens in cities, the speed of the flow of the water increases, and water is not able to infiltrate into the ground. Then you write about urban local bodies, how their ineffective work. In the drainage system, give example. In the drainage system, you can say there is no, or you can say very low level of separate drains. Separate drains for rainwater and for the sewerage water. So separate drains for rainwater, what is called stormwater drains. First of all, within drainage you can write 2 points. One thing is the drainage system is not efficient, not effective, right? Even there is no rainfall, still you find going to certain areas, the water keeps on coming out of the drains, right? Secondly, there is absence of stormwater drains in many areas. We are able to understand these points. Importance of very important point it is. Stormwater drains means what? You see, rainfall happens if every water goes into the sewerage water. It will be choked. It is better to have a separate drainage system for the rainwater. Then you can write about rainwater harvesting. That is also missing.
So even embankments.
Sorry?
Even embankments.
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 Okay.
Can be.
Yes, you can write.
Deforestation,
Have you written about the tree cover deforestation?
lack of lakes,
Wetlands. Encroachment of the floodplains. See how if World Culture Festival happened on the Yamuna floodplain, or even more floodplains, for example, when Uttarakhand flood happens, this disaster happened, a major reason for more number of casualties was what? There was encroachment on the river banks. In fact, the floodplains, they provide a cushion against the floods. But you keep on encroaching on the floodplains, water will come with such a furiously, then it resulted into the urban flooding. So around 9 to 10 points you can write in the regions. Then measures, with respect to each region there is a measure. So again same 9 to 10 measures. Yes, regarding one is pollution regarding that, another is industrial. What actually happened? The industries, they let off the untreated wastewater into the rivers. Regarding wetlands, right? Preservation, conservation of the wetlands. Give example. Wetland management rules 2016. Land urbanization, encroachment, check encroachment, हर एक के साथ में एक point आपका. Drainage, promote stormwater drains and improve the effectiveness of urban local bodies. Tree cover, pollution, strict enforcement of the environmental norms. Same with the industries, ensure the water is treated for strict enforcement of these laws. Promote rainwater harvesting or even make it mandatory. For example, Tamil Nadu. Even we can promote traditional water harvesting bodies, traditional water harvesting structures as well. For example, bowling, right? So these kind of the water harvesting structures can be promoted. It will help in the storage of water as well as it will check the urban flooding as well. Next question. I believe everybody is able to just get the things what to write, right? Next question. With reference to NDMA guidelines, discuss the measures to be adopted to mitigate the impact of recent incidents of cloudburst in many places of Uttarakhand. Vibhu, quickly बताइए क्या लिखा आपने?
Sir, I don't know about
Okay. Okay, doesn't matter. Even NDMA has not given specific guidelines on, cloudburst. There are guidelines on the landslides or say other things. So, but they are interlinked to each other. Even though you don't know NDMA guidelines, still you should attempt the question.
For rainfall, we can write same.
Yes.
Numbers are rainfall only.
Cloudburst means high intensity rainfall in a very short period of span. That is cloudburst. Measures to be adopted to mitigate the impact of recent incidents of cloudburst in many places of Uttarakhand. Now, their impacts. How we can reduce the impact of cloudburst? So first you need to read. You need to write the regions, because cloudburst, you cannot check cloudburst. It's a natural phenomena, right? Even when cloudburst happens, the casualties or the damage is because of the consequent events. There are certain anthropogenic activities which aggravate the impact of cloudburst. Okay, cloudburst happens, what happens? Landslide, resulting into the, because generally it is a landslide after cloudburst that results into the damage. Are you with me on this point? Now, why more landslides? There are natural reasons, as Himalayas are unconsolidated land, more earthquake prone zone, but you cannot remove earthquake, you cannot check this one, right? But there are certain anthropogenic regions which aggravate the situation. For example, deforestation, overgrazing, unsustainable tourism, development projects resulting into the, then moreover apart from this, more dams and all resulting into the more seismic activities. So these aggravate the situation of impact of cloudburst, accentuate the impact of cloudburst. One reason could be climate change for cloudburst. So Ultimately, once you write the measures, mitigate the impacts to check these anthropogenic activities. Then with respect to all these reasons, you can write the solutions. Then NDMA has given certain do's and don'ts, what to do and not to do in these kind of conditions. We have we'll provide in the notes for these. Okay, that's all from my side.
17th, 18th, or 19th or 20th question. Okay, that is related to military, and I just want to, first I want to know that how much do you know about the defense and all these things. For example, the first question is hot pursuit and surgical strike. Okay, what is the meaning of hot pursuit and surgical strike? What comes in your mind first? Okay, anything or any idea or not?
Hot pursuit in Myanmar, what is it?
Okay. So this is a common example you can give to everybody. Hot pursuit is that when Myanmar attack happened or a Pakistan attack happened. But in a real way, when we are going to give a definition, then we have to tell that what is hot pursuit. So it's an immediate reaction after the attack, and the urgent and direct pursuit of criminal, whether within a the border area or in the outside of the border, and how the government react by law, Indian law or international laws. And what is surgical strike? When we are going beyond our own territory and doing some casualty and harming the enemies. So this is the surgical strike, and this different between the hot pursuit. So when we did hot pursuit, okay, that surgical strike we did, I think you read newspaper, and US came in our support that this is right. When somebody have a threat to their nation, and they have a right to secure their own interest, so we are with them. So when we are talking about what are the positive and negative impacts, when you start discussing about it, for an easy method, if you are going for a positive and negative impacts, when you are going to tell that discuss the strategic impacts such as positive and negative, just differentiate in three types. Okay, social, political, economical. Okay,
Social, political, sir.
yeah. And strategic. And what are the strategic impacts? Okay, when we do this type of operations, then at that time we also need to make a strategy. If the situation get more uh, you know hot or whatever the advance, then what is the other thing? What are the other measures? Are we forces are ready or not? And are the international politics is going around the world, are they are with us or not? So at that time, the strategically we have to be take a one step forward with very careful method. So it is very much important. For example, when we did Myanmar, okay, we already have a that memorandum of understanding with them, that we have to what we say that we have to maintain a peace and tranquility at the borders. Okay, but at that time, what we did is that we attacked directly without informing the other side. We, the nations we have the good relations, we have to maintain them, but we did it, and our political parties and all started doing that we did it. At that time they answer it, you did wrong because you don't inform them. And why it happens? But because surgical strike is not a new idea. It happens every time from many years, but never come in the directly in we see na, politically it's right, but never come in the notebook. For example, legally we never accept it, we did it, but otherwise we always did it, and other people also do this. So at that time, in 1995 there was an Operation Golden Bird. Do you know that? So 1995, the Myanmar and Indian Armed Forces did a surgical and all type of operations on our Myanmar borders collaboratively to neutralize the insurgents, those who took part, in the insurgency within the Indian state. So after that, even in 2006, we did the same with the Myanmar. But this time, what the negative impact come there, because the Myanmar said you didn't inform us. Okay, so there is a one factor. And other, if you say the beheading of the soldiers when happened, there was a other Operation Ginger. I think in a Hindu newspaper it also came there. Okay, so these are the hidden things, not accepted on a paper. But this time, positive impact what came when we accepted internationally that we did it. The other nation, the international countries, they also recognize it. This is good because we are securing our own national interest. Then this is the positive impact. When you come to the nationwide, within the nation country, politicizing the things according to their own comfort, then it becomes the negative thing. For example, now everybody want surgical strike. Uri attack, surgical strike. Okay, Pathankot attack, then you again need it. Okay, the people of the country need, or karo. So this is not right because these are the genuine way. For one thing, you are raising the morale of your nation, but if you are politicizing these things according to your own comfort, then it is always harmful. And economically, how it impact? When you do surgical strike, there is a chance of getting the war, okay, which impact on the trade, okay, of the countries, okay, the border seas and all area. And hoarding also come. For example, if they are sure about the the war is going on, then the big people, or you can say that the companies, they hoard the materials, and the expenses rises of the things, okay, anything from the clothes to eating a food, everything rises. But it is on the end point when it happens, but otherwise the trade happens, is directly impacted by that. Then other things, for example, if war started, then the investment coming from abroad, or some investment coming from the central part of India to the border areas, or the big companies going to the border area, they get a threat because businessman is a businessman always. So they get a threat of that business is going to be hurt. Okay, after all, they are going for a money. So the economical impact come from this way, and it's also come from the internationally because FDI, we know that everybody know that FDI coming, then they have a threat because if the country is in a hotbed of war and all these things, then they also have to think about it. How can they secure their own interest? So this is the other thing. So politically, positive and negative is coming. Strategically, how we have to do these things. Okay, one thing, increasing the morale is right. Okay, the other thing, strategically, how we make the other advancement. Strategically, what happened is right, but what after that? What are the loopholes? Are we capable to overcome all the loopholes? These are important part of these things. So strategy, when we make it, then there is a very big line that know yourself, know your enemy. Okay, so if you know yourself, then you should also know what is your enemy capabilities. So my capability is that I are we prepared for a war? Okay, when 1971 happened, okay, at that time there was a main thing when they asked for a Manik Shah for a go for a war. He said directly that at least I need 6 months. We need 6 months. So if you're going for a war, it's not like the 4 month, 4 days you can go for a war, and it will be a disaster for both nations. Maybe somebody win or somebody lose, but strategically, where we said preparation of your forces, selection and maintenance of aim. So these are the strategic point. And what are the other operations done at that time? Operation Ginger. Okay, even at the time of 1971 war, when the Bangladesh creation, okay, this was initially not accepted by the government formally, but this is true that we did it. We made it Bangladesh, and we did it. We succeeded. It's a very good operation. Okay, then Golden Bird, then Ginger, Okay, then there was a one other operation done in 2003 in Bhutan, that is Operation All Clear, December 2015. I think more than 15 terrorist camp were attacked and more than 600 insurgent was killed. And at that time, General Vij was army commander. So when you are going to write all these things, you just have to give the examples. And these are the examples we already did these things. Accepted Operation Ginger is there now on a paper. Okay, Golden Sparrow is there. Okay, then after that, that Operation All Clear is there. You have to mention these things. Okay, then we talk about strategically, economically how impact. Okay, you wanna increase it in your way, you can increase it. Okay, and then we discuss about the politicizing, political things. Political things also come on a national level or international level. What is national level interest and what is international level interest? Okay, if you are raising the morale of your nation, you also need to be, checkmate all things is going well, or we are very excited after that. Okay, but what happened after that? Nagrota, okay, in Srinagar. So how we can control it? The countermeasures, politically, accountability in all these things. So this is the year 17 question if we discuss about it. And if you want to know anything about it, you can ask me. In this question particular, we can discuss again later after we do. And in this, when we do this hot pursuit or a surgical strike, this is also work as a deterrence. Once you do, we also give you the same punch back. So deterrence is the right word you can write, and deterrence also come there. So it also improves the status of your country, improving, okay, how much we are strong. And this is a strong signal to the terrorists and the nation supporting them, the India can do. The next question is the terrorism emerging as a competitive industry over the last few decades. Analyze one statement. So here is the main thing when you're going for a UPSC exam, we directly come to India. But whenever we are coming to the Indian answer, we also have to discuss about the world, what's going around us. Okay, because ISIS, as far as we all know, that it's not threat directly to India, but it is a threat. So ISIS is in Syria and Iraq area. So we also need to discuss that. When they started for a competition between competitive industry between them, they start impacting each other. ISIS become very big issue after 2013. Before that there was Al Qaeda, Taliban, okay, then Boko Haram, okay. So how they are competing with each other? So how it is becoming threat for everybody. However, they are not so much lethal, but they try to become more lethal to each other. They compete each other. If I kill 3,000 people, they are trying to kill more than that. So here the problem came. Okay, then you start giving examples from the ISIS. Okay, what they did. Okay, competitive modern ways. Okay, how they are tackling with that. And do you notice the new way coming as a terrorism? New way. Just for a sake, I'm saying new way of terrorism. Social media, yeah, cyber is okay, but beside the social media, leave it on one side. Beside weapons,
Just coming on the army base directly.
no, yeah, I agree with you, but leave it. Talk about the world in that way, or it will happen in everywhere.
Lone wolf attacks.
Huh?
Lone wolf attacks.
Huh? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Just an attack on a Christmas market. They come in a truck, bullied out everybody. You don't need weapons. You don't need any technology. You need only brainwash of the one person. How they're tackling with that. So ISIs come with that idea, and it is workable. Okay, so these are the main, their own competition. When the ISIS started, it starts from the Syrian part, African part, oh sorry, Syrian part and Iraqi part, and after that they come to Algeria. Okay, Boko Haram came there. Okay, and in 2015, March 2015, they collaborated with each other. Before that, Al Qaeda was also competing with them, and as Islamic State, they also want to make Islamic Emirate, because they feel like the inferior. They are getting more, news line and all things. They are getting more, focused, and we are getting weaker than them. They are starting attack each other. Then after that, then there was other Jabhat al Azhar. There is a one group. It's also affiliated from Al Qaeda. They also start working with ISIS. So they collaborate with each other also to compete other Taliban and good Taliban and bad Taliban. Then Boko Haram and ISIS in 2015, the world fatality ratio 51% is done by them only. Boko Haram and ISIS. Fatal casualties, they kill people. 51% killed by both of them. And after 2013 when they 2015 when they collaborate with each other, then there is a rise of fatality 300% when they join competition, and the Taliban comes to number 3, who was the deadliest in 2013. So now we talk about the world terrorism. Okay, and there are 5 countries, main 5 countries: Iraq, Nigeria, Afghanistan, Pakistan, and Syria. 78% of world fatality जो accident होते हैं happen in these 5 countries, and these 5 countries are impacted by Al Qaeda, Taliban, ISIS. Okay, you can come to Jaish-e-Mohammed. Now when you are coming to Indian part, okay, Hizbul Mujahideen. Okay, then you come to the insurgent groups also. Then you start talking about what is coming in India. Hizbul, okay, Indian Mujahideen. And now the advancement comes like they are also collaborating with each other. Their bosses are sitting in Pakistan, they are having meeting and they start cooperating with each other, even with the insurgents. So here you have to discuss how they are competing and how they are giving a threat to India. Okay, for example, in a Hizbul or Indian Mujahideen a little bit, okay, then the Lashkar-e-Toiba is working together in J&K when they are attacking. And last time when if you checked out, there was a whole email conversation between Hafiz Saeed and Burhan Wani came, that how they are helping each other, banking account, how they are helping each other. So you have to discuss about it, how they are competing, and they are also criticizing each other. You are not more brutal, so you have to be more brutal. So you have to compete in that way. And they are also collaborating with insurgent from Nepal, from Bangladesh border. Okay, so they can get a weapon for each other, and these are the main points from where you can easily get into the India and do anything, any terrorist attack. How competition comes with them. So this is the question number terrorism merging that.
What is difference between insurgent groups and these terror organizations?
Insurgent group are within the nation. okay, when you attack, insurgents always try to be maintained inside the any country, not India. Okay, terrorist organization work from anywhere, whether inside your country, whether outside your country. Those who are giving them comfort, they start from there. For example, Pakistan, everyone know that. Okay, insurgent is not just directly come in existence. Insurgent is a reaction of after something happened within your nation.
It's also state sponsored.
Yes, state sponsored. You can say that, not state sponsored. Then if you say state sponsored, then it also come on Indian. If it is in India insurgent, you can say that it's a state sponsored. Anything else regarding it? You can ask me. I feel little bit in that way, because you need some question. Maybe okay, I can give you the examples of that thing, and these examples are workable. Okay, and if you just say yes, that it means there is something fishy for me. I think like this.
But how can this be an industry, sir? Industry means we usually have some hierarchy or this thing. Hierarchy in the sense
In that,
there will be formal, sir, industry, but how can we define terrorism with as industry, sir?
how can we defend?
Because industry, if we say, if you take
No, there are no very
Yes.
countermeasures. I can tell you even now, because the next two questions is like this: how can we defend them? How can we countermeasure them? Just read out the other question is border management. Now we have to countermeasure. Other cyber attack is going to countermeasure. But if you want to, I can discuss with this. Is there is a one thing that our preparedness, preparedness is not that how much weapons or how much lethal we have, how much intelligence we have is also countering these things. How much strategy to go for a surgical strikes, this is the countering them. Okay, how much collaboration with the other nation to counter their economic barriers, to give them economic barriers. These are the strategies. Other thing, for example, US are drone. They don't need to go anywhere. They just bound it, and they have a very technologically how much we advanced, how much knowledge we have. Okay, in forces we say C4, I3, I2, S and R, command, control, competence. Okay, then I2 you can come to the, and then is coordination, 4C. I'm just telling you, it's not coming in there. Okay, then comes in I2, information, intelligence, then come to surveillance, and R comes for recognition. Okay, first command, then control, then competence, then cooperation with the forces, then come to information, what is intelligence then, and after that what comes? Surveillance, what is our surveillance doing? How can we recognize? Recognition. So these are the first manners, 4 steps. Whenever we go for a principle of wars, then there is a selection and maintenance of it. This is the first principle of war. So our main aim is that how to counter it, and how we counter it. Until we don't have information, until we don't have strategy, we can't control it. Economic embargo, okay, we are stronger in South Asia, we can do it easily if we want. Okay, then you come to the preparedness of your forces, then intelligence. Okay, then the other technologies comes for a space preparedness. Okay, because you also need allocations. Okay, these are the things. How can we counter? Lethal is the other way. Then other thing is that in defense, okay, there is a one line we say that kill the problem before it starts. You don't need to be always give the solution when the problem arises. So you have to make a strategy before that. Before that strategy is like this only. How we have, how much information we have, how much advanced we are then, one step forward. That's the thing. Anything else? Okay, next question is border management. Complex task. Okay. In that border management, okay, when we come to think about India, then why it is very difficult to manage the border, and why it is very important, you have to tell it. Okay, and this is your question, and you're talking about India, but you just have to mention in 2 or 3 lines how it is also impacting the whole world and what are the positive way. For example, Europe, okay, because they have a very good borders, they have a full coordination with each other forces, how they're managing it. Then you come to Africa, where the border were decided by the colonial powers. It was 1884 Berlin Conference. Okay, whenever you are going to see, African map, just check out there. They have a just like straight line, direct line, because they don't care of tribes and all these things. They have their rule there. Just make that line. So the border management problem is all over the world, and Africa is a main example, hotbed, where they just people cross each other. Now I am coming to India. Okay, now what is that? What is why it is important for India? India is present. Importance क्या है इसकी पहले आप बताएंगे. Do you know golden crescent and golden triangle? Both. Okay, India is between them. Golden crescent comes Afghanistan, Pakistan, Iran. Golden triangle comes Vietnam, Laos, Thailand. Even in a Bangladesh, Cox's Bazar is a part of that. Okay, and their trade of drug and that weapons, small arm weapons smuggling going hand by hand. Okay, so it is very important for India to deal with these problems, because these problems also creates terrorism, okay, migration, illegal of smuggling of many things. You can start from drug, human, okay, species. So then when you have all these things, then you come to challenges. We have a hostile relation with neighboring countries, for example, Pakistan and China, where we always feel challenges. For example, we have a very long border with Pakistan and China. And do you know that which one is the longest one?
China.
Border we share longest? Bangladesh. ऐसे लगता है यार बांग्लादेश कैसे छोटा सा तो है, लेकिन we have to cover all Bangladesh. Then come China, then Pakistan, okay, then Nepal, then Myanmar, Burma. I can give you the figure if you want. Figure. We have 14,880 kilometer long borders total, out of which Bangladesh have 4,096, China 3,488, Pakistan 3,323, 3,323, 3,323, Nepal 1,751, Myanmar 1643, Bhutan 699, Afghanistan for a sake as with the whole India is 106 approx. Now other challenges. Okay, for example, if you're talking about Pakistan, it's very difficult terrain. You can't line of control, you can't mark it properly because mountain terrains are there. The terrorists always get a benefit of them getting inside India. One side you have a shelling and all these things. The challenge is other side is how can you maintain your border. Okay, so here is the challenge of first thing, a different terrain in that region, and even in the same side with China is the same. Okay, so first challenge is to how can we deal with them. Okay, there is one is international border, then is LOC, then other come is where we are settling down. Same international border, LAC, line of actual control. So this is the first challenge, how can we deal with them? And the solution for this, for example, is we are going to a round table talks with China, for example. Pakistan we also did it, but however we are not ready. The first point, okay. Then the difficult terrain. For example, in northeast when you come for a Myanmar area, the jungles are too heavy that you can't manage it. Even you can go like this. in Nepal area, you can just get in that way. You are in Nepal. So from here, the challenge come for an insurgent. They can easily go through by the both countries where they have families. Okay, so how can we tackle with them? Here then, until we demarcate all these things, we can't do that. I will tell you about later, but I'm now that just telling you challenges for that. Then you come to the Bangladesh porous border. Okay, we have a rivers between them. If the rain came, when the flood came, one thing happened here, one thing happens on the other side. So that's why we are, giving the roundtable talk. Bangladesh clear in 1974 all the bills, and the India just clear 2 years back. Okay, still the process is going on. So how can we manage to do this? How fast we do this, then we can manage our borders. And from Bangladesh, what happened? Challenges come where? Migration. We have to write down migration, because when you are writing about Bangladesh, okay, illegal migration,
So how smuggling?
huh?
How?
Cow smuggling. It's a 10,000 crore business. Okay, they buy, yeah, species 2,000 rupees from Haryana and that area, Punjab area, and Bangladesh legalized by 420 rupees. Them, that tax we give, import tax, and after that the cost of the buffalo or whatever they're going there is 5,420 rupees, and more than that. Then proper fencing problem, electrifying the fencing, floodlights issue, because difficult terrain also don't have electricity. In parts of J&K, if you talk, some parts of Bangladesh and northeast Indian regarding there is come this problem. Then poor connectivity of road, and there is a other threat. For example, in Myanmar area or a Bangladesh area, the health issue. Okay, when we go outside, then they have a full medical test, and you don't know that when the mass migration comes from Bangladesh on that area, if somebody is infected with some disease, it will happen to everyone, and it happens few years back. That viral came in that area, that Bangladesh border was seized. So these are the problems, and lack of capacity building, training, equipments, intelligence. Building, what means capacity building? Capacity building within the forces. Training, how much we are training them in advanced manner. Okay, NVGs, night vision goggles, we don't have too much. In some areas, border areas, we have, but we are not able to provide them in each and every post these things. Okay, and then is coming other thing is that intelligence. For example, we have the intelligence of when their terrorists are going inside India and we did surgical strike. How much is our intelligence in that area? And there is a one plus point if you write all these things. Now we have satellites. Ocean set is for ocean. Okay. Other one is Indian navigation system. Okay, still in a progress. The satellites going in a orbit, but it start working. And according to some papers, it's not said in a official way, but the capacity of that satellite is 10 centimeter. Can detect the things up to which one is bigger than 10 centimeter by the satellites. So when we manage that satellite, when we are full capability using this satellite, it will help us. And same in an ocean set, in an ocean. Okay, terrorists came in a Mumbai attack from Pakistan, Karachi to India. Okay, and if the satellite worked properly, if we had coordination between the forces, properly, then it's very easy to counter them. We had knowledge about that the terrorists are coming, but the forces never coordinated with each other. IB have a different information, the other people have a different information. 11 है? Okay. And just a minute here. But they never share with each other. Then after that, they start joint information center. It is in Gurgaon, where the whole anybody have information. IB have, CBI have, anybody have the information intelligence. Now it start collecting it at one place and going to everybody. Now you look the efficiency of increased. NIA sometimes search somewhere people, okay, intelligence search somebody. So this is after that reaction, the positive way. Then what are the strategies? Okay, 2001, in 2001 the group of ministers settled down and they decided to review the border management. Okay, and what they did in border management, they said we need a separate department for a border management process in under the home ministry. So now there is a one border management. Okay, then there is come the settlement of the maritime borders and other borders, land borders. We started with Bangladesh. Myanmar, we have a problem that we settle down. Okay, in some kind of way now we are doing fencing there. Okay, Nepal, we have a problem near Kali Nadi. Okay, so we are starting round table talk start with China, even Pakistan, least. Okay, then there is a principle of one border, one force. What is mean one border, one force? Is that on a one border, particular border, is one force will be responsible for doing all these things. Okay, for example, up to Jammu Kashmir. Okay, in some areas there is the army on a border, but in other areas it's BSF. Okay, same Bangladesh. Okay, then you come to the RR, and for a separate, so you can make accountability then. If something happened, you can accountability. It's not like this. It's a coordination like between the two forces. You can say इसने किया था, इसने किया था. It's not like this. Okay. Then there's road connectivity, border infrastructure, to building a border infrastructure. How we can build road, rail transport. As now you just think now we are doing a rail transport and a road transport link in a Arunachal area, and China is objecting us. Okay, we are building dams there, and they are objecting in a World Bank. So how much we build infrastructure, it also part of that. So resolving border issues. Okay, land border agreement with Bangladesh, you can give the example of that. Okay, then capacity building. How can we build capacity of our forces? As I told you that with satellite, advanced equipments, NVGs, okay, and also training with the coordination of the forces. When the beheading happened, there was a BSF on a border, and they crossed BSF in a post. They come to the army post 7 kilometers inside, and they did it beheading. So at that time, they screwed each other. That you are responsible. So how we can coordinate with each other? This is very important in that. Okay. And there is other thing is better coordination between the neighboring forces. As I told you at that time, Myanmar surgical strike, Operation Golden Sparrow, okay, Golden Bird, and at that time what happened? They coordinate with each other. They did it together. Okay. So how can we coordinate with each other? Now we are very good examples of coordinating with the Bangladeshi forces. Okay, we coordinated with Bhutan at the time of all clear, Operation All Clear. So how we can coordinate with each other? Then the rising the specialized force. For example, we rose that mountain strike force. especially in a China border area. So how can we specialize them? This is very important in that. So these are the strategies. How can we deal with them? And other things come in that after that meeting in 2001, okay, there was a scheme can't come under that. That is, there is 100% non-lapsable, you know, center assistant to the executive, you know, projects at the border. Because our, we have a labs, theory of labs. In March, whatever you get the fund, it is going to be less. Then you ask for other things. Especially in a border area where the projects are going off your government, then 100% there is no labs. You have to complete it. Okay, then you have to develop in the border area, and development is not related to only the infrastructure only. There is also educating the people near the border. Okay, Operation Sadbhavna. This Sadbhavna mission is going on in J&K. Okay, if you read about their Sadbhavna, they are also giving education to the children. They are building their dams, small dams in a village, schools, education, economic corridors. Okay, then you come to uh, that trade transit points. Okay, if we have only 2 or 3 transit points for taking a material, then there will be maybe a smuggling of things. So if you make a lots of transit points, then economic free zone. Free trade agreements. Okay, then there is other, if you get a development, trans-Asian highway, trans-Asian railway. Okay, trans-Asian, that electricity grids. It can indirectly help in managing all these things. So this is the your third question regarding to border management. And finally come to the use of internet and social media and non-state actor. So what's going on this?
Brainwashing.
Huh?
Rumors created for riots and all that.
Yeah. What other things?
Against
Sir, there is no
color
count.
change. Color change.
Okay. What else?
There is no accountability over who started it.
Okay. Chalo. This is the things that we normally know. Okay. I'm just going to tell you these things normally. Then after that, I just tell you the other thing, other side, that even didn't know that when I was reading about these things. One is recruitment by the terrorist organization. As you know that Twitter, Facebook, other social networking, WhatsApp groups, they are using to recruit their own people. Okay, then what else comes in your mind? The other point comes in mobilizing the communal rights. For example, sometimes we have some projects in India. Okay, then they also protest against their projects. Okay, some Western nation don't want it. Okay, what is uh, that nuclear plant in Kerala or Tamil Nadu? Kodakam. Huh? Then the protest happened. It was funded by Ford Foundation. When the people comes rise, so how they are using social media to help some projects. Okay, and same in the border is done by China in northeast section. And what else? Financial insecurity. As just few, you just give them an example. This, if I am saying this thing, you just know. If you try to remember, if you are capable to remember the dates. Okay, for example, the leak of that swipe cards, ATM cards data.
Data
It's
breach.
vulnerable. Okay, so if the terrorist organization get this data, they can easily handle with all these things. Your personal information, you have photographs, sometimes you have your conversation with your friend. Okay, so all comes in that way. Then hacking by the terrorist organization, hacking of Reserve Bank website, hacking of government website. You also have example. Twitter account is hacked of many political leaders. Even they threat to parliament. And rising the sentiments of the people. You are from this religion, you have to do this. You are this religion. Even the political parties also do this, but this is mostly done on the IT side, social networking. You can ask me if you left anything. You can ask me.
Rising. It's the last point.
Sentiments. Now, other what is that? Guidelines क्या होनी चाहिए? To aware the people. How can we aware the people? Okay, if somebody say I am awareing you, I think this is very small example. It is not done by me or you or a perfect separate group or even a state government. It will be done by a whole world level. Okay, if I did it, maybe my 100 friends know that, or you can do this. This come to the 1,000 people. Or if a Punjab state government or other state government does, maybe it's come to state policy. But what else about the country and the regional countries, and what about the whole world? So it is done by the awareing the people on, just for example, coordination with the Twitter head office. So you can aware the whole people what are the countermeasures, okay, in coordination with them to delete the unaccounted accounts which are used for terrorism. Facebook, we are doing this. Now the special cell come. So deactivating the radical accounts, groups, chats. Then you come to the main point, that establishment of international legal measures and cooperation between the nation and cyber social networking organizations. In India, we have a problem with that legal measures. We are just new. We have newborn baby like this. With legal measures, it's just drawing on law basis. So we have to make a legal measures, and legal measures within the nation and also on an international level. Until we don't coordinate with the other countries, if something happens from the other countries, how can we deal with them? If we have some legal measure to counter with them, we need the support of each other. So this is the very important part of that. Then developing the nation's ability to prevent, detect, defense against, and recover the accounts. First prevent, then detect, then defend, and recovering. Then other come after that, point out the loopholes and work on them. We also need military cooperation for cyber terrorism. In India, most of these things done by defense forces. How can we counter them? Okay. Then other thing is that I told you national and legalizing the measure, and the other one is bilateral and multilateral agreements on cyber security cooperation. Bilateral between the two countries, okay, multilateral between the groups or a SARC group, you can say that other groups. Then there is a need of creating a that intelligence powerhouse where you get every knowledge about these groups. How can we deal with them? The creation of these in the order to collect and share the intelligence simultaneously among the nations, within the nation, among the nations. Then there is a cyber defense experts. We also need a expertise. Okay, those who know very well about how can you deal with them. We also need an infrastructure, institutes to educate people, to raise the forces against them. Then we also need to conduct cyber attack exercises in a country or an international level. Okay, what they do in a cyber attack exercises, they form a group of 5 people or 4 people. There is another group 5 people. They start hacking each other. Punjab is hacking Haryana, or Haryana is hacking Punjab. I'm just giving you an example. It's not like this. They're hacking, and it happens. How do you can prepare yourself? Anti-hacking, hacking, hacking, anti-hacking. All things happen in that. And after that, all reactions we have to analyze all things. Now, there is a in India. There is a main thing you have to write is that the cyber security law like CERT, IN, CERT, साथ में IN, Computer Emergency Response Team, India. This come under the Ministry of Electronics and IT. Now, here the topic ends. This one. Do you want to ask me any question? Do you want to know anything else?
So can we write about CCIT, sir?
You can write. Okay. And this is the one thing. But I'm just asking you. Anything else? Do you know about internet and all these things? Anything else? Okay.
Then there is one dark net. Those things, those things.
I'm coming on that. That's why I'm asking. Okay. Okay. For example, it's a surface net that we all use, social networking. Okay. Then here is a deep web, surface web, deep web. Then comes dark web. Okay. What we do generally things in a surface web, social networking and all. Deep web comes where we have passwords and all these things. And dark web is a thing that never come under control. Okay, it was started in mid 90s, 1990s. Initially started by US Navy, US Naval Research Laboratory. And how the program runs in that. There is a Tor network. Do you know about Tor? Okay, you know what that is? Yeah, Tor. It's a dark web network. Okay, in that dark web, the websites are not like this www dot this www dot this or with your name. Okay, they have many sub columns and all these things, and they're very long ideas. And whatever, if you know that the WikiLeaks, okay, arm trade, dealing, drug smuggling, okay, human smuggling, assassination, and all happen in a dark web. Whatever the political accounts, Swiss bank accounts, all happen in on a dark web. These areas. Okay, and why initially it was started? It was for a U.S. military personas. Okay, where they do things hiddenly from the government of the other country, other nations. And when they started, they suddenly realized that we have a dark web, but we only are in that group. Okay, so if somebody come to know about the dark web, then they come to know about what we are doing. So they opened it for everybody. In dark web, you can't chase anyone. There is no IP address, nothing like this, no name. Okay, nothing counts, but you can do everything.
Through same servers is operate.
Don't do this. Okay,
No,
I'm just telling you. Yeah,
Okay.
you can do this, but these if you do by the servers, for example,
No,
your
means I mean the connections are the same.
same,
Broadband connections.
the same, but your IP address is noted.
Okay.
If you install a Tor and all these things, it really it's legal. Tor is legal, but many sites are illegal. When you install Tor, then government will know automatically that you are doing. Then they start, you know, yeah, scanning you. What are you doing? So I'm just telling you, don't do this. Okay. Then there are other group, that websites. For example, uh, DuckDuckGo. In DuckDuckGo, if you download DuckDuckGo, if you do something, for example, Google, you are doing. It's not for these sites and not for working on these sites. But if you do some Google or Facebook in that, you're if you do a Chrome and all these things, na, your every data is going. What you opened it, what you are doing. But in DuckDuckGo, nobody come to know that what are you opened, your last history.
Browser or
DuckDuckGo is a browser. Okay, there are many. Okay, Tor Mail. Okay, DuckDuckGo, Tails, Start Page, PhotoMe Beta, Silent Circle. These are all related to dark web and all these things. Okay, so for tackling them, there is no solution. What happened? There was a narco website. Okay, first they started. It was banned by US because it is a US based all nets. But what happened next? They start again with 02, same website. And the name of that website, I forget that name. I will tell you later. Okay, yeah, it's a dark. It is a website narco dot something. But their name is not written there in that way. Their name may be something jumble words or maybe some degrees like this. Websites are like this, where all things are happening. More than I think 55% is a dark web. Other thing is deep web, then is surface web. What we are doing. So in the end, you just write down little bit. For example, this one here. Because if you are going to write in the initial say or a big one, maybe a bouncer for other person. Okay, and these are your answers. Tell me anything else. Any question here? Any question? Sure. Chalo. All the best.
Thank you. So that's all for today's class. If you like our videos, you hit like, subscribe to our channel, and comment on the comment section given below. You can ask the questions on the comment, as well as you can also mail to our email address for any further doubts. Thank you.